Hello everyone and welcome back once again to Panzer Strategy. We're in Operation Barbarossa. Let's continue where we left off. We're on the outskirts of Lvov, but due to a large concentration of forces we were kind of halted there. The enemy threw some airplanes at us, we crushed them. So let's continue. First of all, let's see, this is, yeah, not shellable from that perspective. Okay, so let's use these guys. Damage that. Now my recon should be able to figure out what that is. 3 strength infantry. Well, I'll take that down the old-fashioned way. I couldn't take the city, but I think we're okay. There's not only 1 infantry there. And I can get into range just fine. Since there's no anti-aircraft down here, I might just as well use the incendiaries down here. And not actually waste in the artillery. The reason for that is that I need to land at this airfield anyhow. Sooner than later. I have 1 ammunition left. So I'm just trying pretty much. Alright, let's not take the train station, but let's take at the very least the depot. Take the airfield. And then move you guys down. Okay. It's time to seal the deal. And use altitude afterwards. Excellent. Didn't even need my infantry. So far, so good. Okay. Next stop will be Chernivtsi with these guys. Yeah, perfect. Okay, they have a bunker, but I'd rather avoid the bunker, to be honest. Let's move in here first. Surely they will have anti-aircraft gun, which is going to be critical for taking down. Let's use the aviation. So the recon aviation spotted all the enemy units in here. Now, that means that at this stage, yeah, these guys are still pretty rough, you know, even with their poorly trained units. This artillery is still a force to be reckoned with, and in order to take down the anti-aircraft gun, I'm gonna be placing an airstrike just right. Now, why these guys aren't out of ammunition on that latest attack, I don't know. However, I will be using incendiary bombs and attacking it. And, you know, I'm taking another damage, but these guys are now out of commission. They won't be attacking anyone anytime soon. And I think the likelihood that there's anti-aircraft in that particular region is very unlikely. Excellent. Also demoralized and fleeing. I need to cruise through this city pretty much at high speed. If I can. So Again, let's use the incendiaries. Move up in here. And this time the infantry is my target. I think for speed, trying to take out this bunker is probably a good idea. And now I'll use the fighter to damage these guys as well. There's an airfield here, so I want to land there. At the very least on the next turn. And I think doing it this way should work out fine. Alright. Command units. Yeah, they'll be moving up in here, finishing off the bunker. Or not. Or not. Okay, these just let's try to do it with the recon then. Okay. There we go. That's also a way to do it. Now, I thought I had a total of 3 artillery over in the center. 1, 2. But maybe I didn't? Got me a bit confused. Oh yeah, I was supposed to get these guys down in the center. Well, I messed that up. Okay, guess I'll be doing it with 2. Over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Would be a nice attack, but I don't think I need to do that. Exactly. I'll just get the overrun on him. You get to move by 1 hex. You as well. But the overrun here is really sweet because it allows me to move further again, destroy the other tank, overrun once more, and take over the airfield. And this tank is also very ideal for forward defense because of its heavy armor ability and high ground defense. Okay. The Panzer IV is excellent against infantry. So, I'll be moving in here. Ooh. Okay, so they actually need to get a pounding, I'm afraid. Yeah, that's not nice, but...
Our troops have taken occupation of Lviv. The long way to the east is now open.
Take all of the hexes here. And try to make sure that the enemy doesn't attack me from the rear. Let's move you up. These guys coming in close. Yeah. So I'll be using another blitzkrieg on the next turn, but definitely not this one then. Indeed. Okay, okay. Not bad. Not bad at all. Let's continue. Now, I already said that the enemy has some counteroffensives going here, so I want to be careful. Before clearing out the airfield, I want to take down Lutsk as well. I'll just move in here, protect myself. Which will allow me to move you in here. you up in here. I want to defend myself in a way that I'm pretty protected in the woods here before attacking on the next turn. So I'm not making big steps here, but I am well defended. And this way also I can immediately regain fuel and ammo for my planes while they remain invisible. At least up in the north, and I think that's pretty good. So now you can move up in here. This artillery... for this artillery it's a bit tricky, because if they move up here... 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's do that. And I'll have to recon block this area. I don't think there's a whole lot there, but... yeah, it's the best way, like this. They're coming up. They weren't able to...
Our saboteurs managed to collapse the Soviet echelon with tanks in the vicinity of the railroad station Chernivtsi. There is a possibility that in the current situation the Russians will simply abandon it. We need to check the site of the crash and take these Soviet tanks.
Yeah. So some of these Soviet forces actually have the 120 millimeter mortars, which allows them to have +1 gun range, which is extremely good. Unfortunately, we don't have those, but yeah. Either way, the Russian infantry is pretty much getting mauled by my tanks even in there. So it wasn't that much of a deal. Let's continue by taking these territories as we go. And the enemy has another stronghold position-ish out here. I forgot to use the blitzkrieg ability here. What? There we go. So I can go for maximum movement. To be honest, I'm really afraid of anti-aircraft fire from up there. So I'm just gonna wait for a little bit here, because these are just the those locations. Yeah, just attack and move later. At least for you. Oh wow. These... how did they even do that? They have 0 heart attack. I have no clue how they were able to damage my tank, but okay. I guess they can do that. So let's get the other, the command tank in there. Well, actually, let's try to solve this problem with the infantry. Okay, it's actually pretty bad for me. Also, they still have the depot. Let's take that and let's use the anti-tank gun here to make them surrender. We know they still have an anti-tank gun down there, which I would be gladly bombing, but let's just make sure that I'm in a good defensive position here first. And I think that being backed up like this by the AT gun with these guys and have these up here should provide me with an excellent defensive position around here against enemy tanks, which is of course what I'm trying to protect myself against. I don't think they're coming up from up here, but rather from down there. And even if they do, well, if they do, I'll be taking a bunch of hits. Let's just keep it at that. So for now, let's land you. Get out again. And I want to go and bomb the anti-tank gun in order to clear out the remainder of the enemy resistance without getting into too much trouble. I can use something like a recon to finish them off, but it's not really necessary to go after it like crazy. Actually, let's just attack here. Destroy it and move into this position. There we go. We weren't going to make it surrender regardless, so I think this is fine. I pretty much just want to let all of these guys land here. Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. Let's move you out here together with some altitude. You're moving 1 hex, getting in there, and they can go pretty far from here, but since I have no real targets at the moment, they probably don't have anti-aircraft units at Brody. But I'll save that for the next turn. I think currently we're doing okay, and I'd rather be safe than sorry. So it's very likely that they have anti-aircraft and artillery around this particular region. So what I need to do is save up for an attack. With not with the anti-air, well, basically I need to save up with a strategic airstrike on the next turn, which costs 9, but I want to place a strategic airstrike here to make the enemy lose its anti-aircraft defenses and then strike out myself. But that's what I'm gonna do on the next turn here. For now, again, as well, I need to land, move out here. I use altitude. Okay, what's up next? My 2 bombers and this here fighter. The likelihood that they have anti-aircraft near Lutsk is very high, unfortunately. So in order not to get crushed by that, I'll move these guys closer, but not bomb just yet. Again, on the next turn, so turn 8, I'll go and activate that ability. Let's move you a bit further. Oh, right. I totally missed that. I am going to attack on this turn. Well, that's a waste of these 2 bombers. Okay. Guess I messed that up big time. Let's move in here. That doesn't help me. Okay. There we are, and they didn't even have anti-aircraft. So I could have just bombed very well. They don't even have artillery. Well, that makes them easy targets. Yeah, I could move the infantry in here. Okay, let's do that. Attack that. That means that I can move into this place and I can attack those guys just fine, just making sure that I can see them. And because I have artillery backup, I'm fine moving these in here. Getting the Stug out here. They will use incendiaries, attack this guy, making sure that it's damaged, and I can easily destroy the recon then. There we go. Take this. And move you up in here. I'm protected from this side, at least for now. So I'd rather move the tanks down here in order to protect myself out here. Now I done messed that up, but I think we still have a chance. Okay, it's an artillery piece, no damage. Heavy tanks, dealing 1. Infantry gone.
Our intelligence has discovered the arrival of new Soviet air units on the front.
Yeah, and this is one of those sporadic attacks that I was talking about. Yeah, they just barely have over 10, huh? Ah, well. Alright, let's start up in the north here with cleanup operation. First, just blast these guys out of the sky. And I pretty much have to coordinate this with the center, because the center is the furthest away from pretty much anything. And they need to take Brody and afterwards move towards Ternopil. I already talked about the enemy counterattack that will be coming from this forested area. So that's also something that we want to watch out for. Either way, we know they don't have any anti-aircraft guns. So I'll be using bombers in order to effectively take down these guys. Without getting into too much trouble. And they also have this and the artillery, so bombing that artillery serves me just fine. Okay. And because I don't think there's any anti-aircraft gun, like I said before, I'll gladly keep going at it here. Okay, the artillery was actually here, but that's okay. Taking down the artillery is most important if I want to advance through Brody. Let's move down, because this way I still get to attack. Not the best attack I've ever seen, but it will do the job. I like to dish out a bit of damage. Okay. Some of these are now unprotected. I should not have left them like that, but I think ultimately we won't suffer too much from it. Probably. Okay. Now, the best approach for this armor would be to go around here and first just attack. If this is an anti-tank gun, I'm gonna hit myself in the face later, so no, it's a regular infantry. Okay, he doesn't have any more movement. Well, I cannot, I don't want to move and then attack with these guys. So for now, just moving you in here. Attacking, oh yeah, I forgot. They don't use artillery if they're 1 hex away. Well, that's gonna cost me some prestige. Yeah, I make plenty of mistakes myself, really. I mess things up too. Okay, let's take the town. Ooh, it's terrible. Man, I'm not getting lucky at all here. Taking damage left and right. Well, alright. I think this is pretty well defended still, with artillery backup. And yeah, I can move in very, very nicely. Let's move you up here. These in here. Now they will strike towards Ternopil in the next turn, depending on how the enemy counterattack will go. As I said before, it's really just dependent on that. We're about halfway through the mission after 4 turns, so yeah, I'm okay there. Let's do a bit of scouting, and indeed we revealed anti-aircraft gun, artillery, infantry, and infantry. So they have some nasty kind of counterattack coming there. Supposedly I would have the initiative on them, but I don't really trust them. So I'm just gonna go for an airstrike first here, if I can get it. Yeah. They're at 1 out of 3 now. So I'll get these, use the incendiaries, and attack. Taking a little bit of damage, unsurprisingly. But I'd rather have that than getting into all sorts of nasty. But I feel confident enough now to attack it. Okay, so this counterattack nullified. At least as far as can be expected here. The bunker is still in the way, which will take a turn to clear out due to lack of aviation. Or not. Could do just as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, let's use incendiaries on these. And indeed, it's just an infantry, so I shouldn't have to worry about it too much. I still have a tank. Yeah, let's move in here. Destroy that.
Our soldiers found a train which has been derailed. Some of the flatbed transport cars have flipped over. but the tanks have carried the only slightly damaged. Very soon our mechanized equipment repair services will put them in order, and will create a new subdivision of these machines.
Yeah, nice. Let's continue. We have very good artillery support right now around here, so I'm not too worried. The enemy has new aircraft, which is unfortunate. Don't know where they are yet, so we'll just have to wait. I mean, they have plenty of airfields in general. It's nice if you can get all of those out of commission in any way. Yeah, I want to move back up north here. So let's use the recon and move in here. There's nothing there yet, so I'll take the airfields all the way up north, and I'll use the small, or take the small depot this way. Now, I said that these guys will go and take Ravno and then continue up further north, and that is kind of like what I'm gonna do here. Let's get you up in here. There's an anti-tank gun, yeah. So I can quite nicely move like this and get the artillery in behind. Yeah, and I should be safe from any counterattack coming from up here. I already said they would launch an attack from up here, and I think this is a very good way of countering that. Let's just see what we have left though. You guys, yeah, you can move into the city. Well, let's see what they got. Tank coming from down here. Interesting the way they spotted me, but I did a lot of damage. And I got one back. Took down the first plane. Well, it's not too bad. Not bad at all. I think the artillery is probably best spending another turn in this region, simply attacking and making sure that this smaller pocket of resistance is taken out. So there's absolutely nothing down here. The other thing that I could do is simply move up with these guys and rather also take this southern route, which is probably not a bad idea. I think actually I might like that a lot more than my previous strategy. So I'm gonna change that up a bit. And I think this is better. As for the recon, let's get in a bit closer. Yeah. Indeed, they couldn't do anything really. And the tanks will go in here, make them surrender. They can't move. And then up here, take the depot of the fortified area, and then take over that too. These guys can go in here, unfortunately, without any supplies that way. But that worked out pretty well so far. And since there's no other cities down here, I might indeed just as well go through this region around this, because there are still some units here, and I want to take them down. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only if they have an anti-aircraft gun on Ternopil itself. Will they be able to do something? Let's just do some recon here first. Okay. Indeed, they have some tanks, as I already said they would. That makes advancing a bit tricky. Now, okay, I'm feeling fairly confident that using this here is a good idea. Because it will give me maximum movement on the recon. And the enemy does have plenty of forces around Ternopil as well. And they do have an anti-aircraft gun. Now I could blast that and afterwards use my bombers. That probably wouldn't even be such a bad idea. I have 7. Let's see. Let's just use some aviation recon here. Revealing some very strong resistance. Wow, really? Now I have to... Oh, this one is already used. Let's use a strategic bomber from here to finish the deal. And this fighter, I don't like its movement, but I have very little choice in the matter. Well, that's a first. That's a second. I need to get a fighter which hasn't attacked yet, which will be... Okay, you have 3 out of 4. Perfect. Spitfire. It's best choice. Because... Again, 0-6 first and now 3-3. I don't get it. I really don't. Still, I'm pretty much doing this in this way to protect myself. Okay, I think what I can do here is move in here, get an overrun, or not. Okay. Let's...
Bolsheviks have been pushed out of Ternopil. The local population greets us as liberators.
Probably not. Right. Only tricky part is this, though. That I don't like. Let's move you up here. It's pretty precarious. But still. Okay, yeah, I only have these guys up north, so... As far as I'm concerned, I want to have you up front. They will provide cover. And this is pretty much like a flanking position. And then these guys should be fine too. It's not really my favorite maneuver here, but like I said, they will probably counterattack from there, and they have a large contingent of units down there, so I can expect anything here. Fighters. Probably best just getting in there and out again. No.
In Overwatch, there is a supply depot with large caliber machine guns taken from the preserved fortifications of the Stalin line. Our offensive did not leave the Russians any time to bring them back. Seize the supply depot. Wehrmacht needs large caliber machine guns.
And that it does. Very well. Just trying to reveal some enemy positions. So they have kind of like two, or at least one infantry there, and artillery up here. You need to break through this line in order to get there. Those are at least gone. Nice. Now, the next job will definitely be bombing these if I want to advance out there. But let's try and deal with enemy aviation first. Or at least try to. Okay. Now, let's start by dealing with the force in the north. We actually got a pretty good shot at what the enemy had here. Their T-34s weren't able to attack, or... Actually, these attacks aren't even that great for me. But this seems to be fine. Or I guess it wasn't as fine as I thought. But I took minimal casualties. Unfortunately, my air force is no longer in the north. Which means I'm gonna have a tough time dealing with this T-34, but let's focus on the northern one first. They can't damage this tank. Ooh. And indeed, they still have a couple of forces here. Not too many. It's not the end of the world, but I'm happy the way I was able to deal with this. Seems like this city is also chock full of enemy units. To be honest, we don't even have that many turns left. Now I could bypass this region altogether and just try to move through down south, then here, and then up north. But that's also a long path and would not allow me to take Sarny. Well, yeah, as I said, the enemy has a huge force here, and if I want to, well, I do want to attack. So 1, 2, 3, 4. For sure, the enemy cannot do anything here, since they don't have anti-aircraft guns. And as I said, the knowledge of having this is huge. Didn't spot any anti-aircraft guns yet. Okay, they won't be able to attack. Now I think for this turn as well, it's time to use Blitzkrieg. Finish off those. And I don't have any recon that is specifically close, right? No. No, I don't. So I need to get you in here. Then move out. You can land, at least get some ammo. destroy another enemy unit. Move out of the way. Get you in here. Attack. One unfortunate thing is that in this region they don't get a lot of supplies. Not at all. Because I kind of need to get it from this here depot, so I'm in a bit of trouble with that at least, but there's very little I can do about that. Right, my last bomber. But I think overall I defended quite nicely against their attack here. And I'm taking a serious amount of prestige points because of the captures, which I also definitely don't mind. Okay, this doesn't even give them anything at this stage. They still have one fuel, or one ammo, so I'm inclined to send them out anyhow. Oh, I completely missed it now. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure about which to take here. I don't care about Hello Marat. +4 ground defense is pretty good. I think I'll go for that. Sure. Fire discipline. Just getting another ammo is not bad at all. Now, I did talk about bombing that, but there's no way I can do that on this turn. Especially with this out there. Has a range of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can already attack it at something like that. That does make this 1, 2, 3, 4 very unfortunate, but at least one thing that I can do here. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Huh. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, yeah, these guys wouldn't do that much. Right. Like, what I can do now at least is position myself in such a way that I can actually attack this on the next turn. Let's see what we have left though. Yeah, pretty much the entire northern section at any rate. Let's see how we get to deal with it. I don't need to worry that much about the BT. But the situation up here isn't very much over. And oh, I think that means that I'm gonna stay like this for another turn, and then next turn I'm gonna deal with all of this stuff, because at that point we have 6 turns remaining, and I can use most of my air force again. I wouldn't like the enemy coming south, but there's little I can do. Try to protect my units as much as possible, but it's challenging. Oh, there's an airplane inside this, yeah. Let's see then. Well, they done messed up. Oh, well, it actually did move. Didn't, yeah, it did 2 damage to whatever unit was there. Can't really see what it was. Really? 2? Still, it wasn't that bad overall. What did it deal damage to my T-38? Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end the video here. So I want to thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll finish it up in the next episode. So once again, thanks for watching, and see you all next time.